Hey guys, Pastor Don XP Realty, part of the Johnson Group out here in Richmond Hill, Georgia, on location at the office. And today is a special video dedicated in honor of Memorial Day weekend. We got Mark and Sam here. You're going to help me out again.
Let's do it.
And if you haven't seen our last video about the auctions, so much fun. Once again, I think the jury's out on who won on that one. I'm not sure.
These guys lost. No, go watch it. These guys lost.
I got to be honest with you. He took both of my houses, so I cannot say he didn't win. But, you know, in my opinion anyway. But, so like in honor of Memorial Day, we're going to be telling old Army stories or maybe Coast Guard stories. I'm not sure what Sam's going to do over here. It's going to either be funny, scary, exciting, whatever. I don't know what they're going to be saying. So I'm super excited to hear what they got. But before we do that, if you get any entertainment or value from this video, do me a favor. Like, share, subscribe. Share this video with your old Army buddies, Coast Guard buddies, Air Force buddies, Navy buddies, Space Force buddies. I don't know. What kind of stories do you think the Space Force has?
None yet. Probably none yet. Maybe a couple of paper cuts.
But yeah, if you got anybody, send them out to them. You guys get together and have your own story time. You know, I think a lot of times Memorial Day, I see it on Facebook, everybody gets mad and people are barbecuing and we'll say, hey, this is about this, that, and the other. You know what? When we tell these stories, I feel like we honor our brother that had died by keeping them alive in these stories. So I really appreciate you guys coming in here today and telling you guys a story. And before we get started, let's start with you, Mark. Why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us about your military service. If you got any listings that you want to talk about, go ahead.
Mark Bullock. I was in the Army for 24 total years. I flew Black Hawks for about 18 of that. Now I did a couple of deployments over to Iraq and Afghanistan, and other than that, been all over wherever Uncle Sam decided to send me to do fun things. Doing real estate for coming up on 3 years actually this summer.
All right.
What makes you seasoned?
You're a Black Hawk guy, right?
Does that mean I'm seasoned?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, 3. I think, yeah, that's good. So you're a Black Hawk guy, right?
Yeah.
Black Hawk pilot?
Yeah.
The entire time?
18 years, yeah. The first little section I was guard and reserves, and then played around with being a drill sergeant for a little while and some other stuff. So
Nice. All right, Sam, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So I am a 21-year veteran of both the Army, where I served for 10 years, 11 years in the Coast Guard. I flew helicopters in both, flew Black Hawks like Mark the whole time I was in the Army for 10 years, and then flew MH-65 Dolphins in the Coast Guard for the last 11 years. And that's actually how we ended up here at Richmond Hill. So I got stationed at Hunter.
Nice.
With the Coast Guard. Ironically, I couldn't shake the Army, you know, which was fine because we really liked
On the better side, though.
Yeah.
I remember looking at you guys from across the hangars over at 1-3, looking at the Coast Guard. Actually, we do some runs past you guys, too, a lot of times. So I don't know if you guys did, probably did brigade runs down that road, right? The backside?
I was a warrant officer. I didn't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, fucking warrant officer. Well, I was 15 Romeo. Well, actually, I started off 11 Bravo in 97, was stationed in Alaska, airborne, jumping out of planes and all that crazy shit in the snow. And then, excuse my language, it's supposed to be PG-13, I'm sorry. But jumping out of planes in the snow, and then I was sick of that, so I reclassed as soon as, after I started to go to Virginia, the planes hit. While I was on PCS leave to go to Virginia to reclass. It's crazy. So that's 2001, and then from that point on, I did Apaches the entire time as the crew chief. But, yeah, so...
The runner-upper dude stuff?
Yeah. APU lighter, all fixing everything, all that good stuff. So TI, production control, I'll go down the whole thing. You don't want to get. That's a long story. We don't do all that. But all right, so I'm going to start. And like I said, we're looking for a funny, exciting, crazy, whatever story. We're trying to keep it PG-13. I'm going to try to hold my cussing down because when I get in Army mode, like my brain clicks and it's like. So I'm going to try to do my best. But, all right, so I'll start, okay? And I'm starting now. I want you to remember, this story is from 2003, okay? So if you were in Charlie Company 1-3 Outcast, Viper Strike to Kill, 3rd Aviation Brigade out of Hunter Army Airfield, and you were watching this, and I missed something, please put it down in the comments below. Help me remember more of it, you know what I'm saying? I'm just going to give you a small snippet of the ride to Baghdad. Okay, just a small snippet, okay? So it's March 19th, 2003, right? My 25th birthday. happy birthday to me. We're sitting in the back of the home TV, listening to our little radio of AFN, you know what I'm saying? And Bush is talking.
Armed Forces Network.
There you go.
For those
Armed Forces Network. And we're listening to Bush talk, and he says, hey, we're about to do this. So, great. So we pack everything up. We had our tent. We pulled everything down, all the equipment packed up in the truck, and we're sleeping out under the stars right before the invasion. Now, we obviously about to invade. No one knows what's going to happen, right? We're trying to get some sleep because we don't know the next time we're going to sleep. We're in the invasion. Were you in the invasion?
I was not. No.
You weren't? Did you?
I went to flight school, I think.
2. Okay. Yeah. All right. Cool. So we don't know what to expect, but we got to get some sleep. So we've got the cats out. We're sleeping underneath the stars, right? And it was a beautiful night, by the way, which is crazy to think. Like the calm before the storm, you know what I'm saying? So we're sleeping under the stars. I'm passed out. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning. And I hear what sounds like the devil has crawled out of the ground and went straight up to my ear and started screaming. Right? I'm like, what the? It's like 10 seconds of the loudest thing I've ever heard. And I look up, and in the horizon, I see this missile going straight up into the sky. And now I don't know where it's coming from. Obviously, I'm in the middle of the damn desert. So I'm guessing it was from a crew or a battleship or a nuclear sub. I don't know what it was. But it's like, goes straight up and then stops, turns, and it goes to Baghdad. I guess, I don't know where it was going. I didn't go punch in the coordinates at the ship, but the missile goes, I'm like, what the heck? And then another one goes, I'm like, oh my God. So everybody's up, obviously. You know, it's like, oh, let's pack it up. We got to go. So we start driving up to Baghdad, right? And it is almost everything you see in the movies, right? Now, you know, when you watch the movies, you don't think that, oh, this is probably fictitious. It doesn't look like that. I'm driving down the road, and I was the first sergeant's driver at the time. And this dude smoked like a champion, dude. He had a tough box. I know I'm getting off track. But he had a tough box of cigarettes, right? Because he had done this before. Of course, I had my little carton. I thought I was good to go. No, that was not good to go. We had a carton, and he would just chain smoke in the Humvee. So, of course, I'm smoking. He's smoking, I'm smoking. It was crazy. But anyway, so we're driving up, and I'm looking off in the distance of this town, and these Apaches are just destroying this town. And rockets, hellfires, and the little Kiowas are coming and blowing stuff up. It's like, holy cow. And then at night, we drove past this battalion of MLRSs. Do you know the acronym? What does that mean?
Multi-launch system, multi-MLRS. No, I don't.
Do you know what it is?
Multi-launch rail system?
I think I don't know what it is. If you know what it is, comment down below, all right?
I don't know.
But I will tell you, watching them at night, a battalion of them, launching missiles as I'm driving, I was like, holy shit. Going to Baghdad, I guess. I'm not sure. I didn't put it in the coordinates. But, dude, it was a crazy 3 days going up there. And, of course, there's a lot of stuff that happened in between, which I'm not going to get into that. If I started that story, I'd be talking for hours. But that was our invasion. It was crazy. Driving up, like, to see all that stuff. And when you're in the Army, you don't get to see all the cool stuff. Like, I saw the Apache, which is really cool. But I never got to see MLRS, Patriot missiles. Like, I got to drive a tank when we were in Kuwait. Like, it was nuts. So that was my invasion story. Not all of it, but enough to do this story. So
scratch the surface on it.
Yeah. So Mark, why don't you tell us your story?
Well, okay. I'm gonna take that and just flip it back to a entirely different idea. Instead of being deployed and invading and doing stuff like that, I got a story about a prank.
Oh, all right, so, cool.
I come in from flight school over to we're standing up 3-227 out at Werewolves out in Texas at Fort Hood or whatever the heck it is now.
I don't even know. Do you know?
It's Cavanos.
I don't know.
If you know that,
say it. It's Fort Hood.
If you know it, put it down below, so we know.
Drop it below. So we show up and they're standing up this new battalion and whatnot. So we've got
Is it Black Ops battalion?
It's a assault battalion. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's whenever they switched over to that that structure and whatever, and they were building up.
Oh, you're the aviation brigades.
Transformation.
Yeah.
So they get the Apache, the Black Hawk, the Chinook all together. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So they're building up the brigade or whatever, and they're starting our company, and they kind of split us off of 2227, the vultures. So as we're having a aviation ball. So a bunch of, I think there was like 14 W1s in the company, because they're starting the battalion, so they're all in the first company, and then they start splitting them all down. So anyway, we're gonna have this ball, and we've got a bunch of these warrant officers together, a couple of W2s, and we kind of had like a little rivalry with the Vulcans across the street, because that's where some of the guys came from. So we're making our little centerpiece for the ball, for our table for the ball. Okay. And
was this tasked to you guys as the warrant officers?
It was, from our commander.
All right.
Super cool guy. But so we're making this werewolf, like just putting fur on this thing, making this werewolf thing, and it's gonna be awesome. So we all leave. It's in the pilot's lounge or whatever, and we all leave, get a lunch, come back, and it's missing.
Oh no!
You know where it's at. So one W2 and 14 W1s go walking across the street.
Oh,
give us their stuff back. And they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. So we come back, and we let our commander know, and he's like, okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to come up with what we're going to retaliate with, and let me know. So we tell him what we want to do. He's like, all right, hold on. We're going to put half of that over here and hold it in case they retaliate back.
Oh, okay.
And we're going to do this. He said, you guys leave for the day. Go find your stuff that you need, leave for the day. One of the W2s finds his way into the Vultures commander and first sergeant had their own little office that was kind of set over to the side. He finds his way in there with nobody in there, goes in the drop ceiling and just hides all day. Just stays there all day.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm not sure how long he was there. I have no idea. And then after they leave for the evening, he drops down, opens the door, makes the calls. Everybody come on in.
Oh, wow.
So we come in. My specific job for that night was, I was supposed to go get crickets. So I bought like $20 of crickets. So my job was to help fill up balloons. We were just, my ears were ringing when we were done. We had air compressors.
Okay.
We had air compressors, and we're just like filling up. I'm telling you, we had those, those big old boxes. I don't even know what they put in them, but huge boxes. They probably stand up this tall, and they're probably 4 or 5 feet wide. We'd toss balloons in there, and they would truck them across the street. And we did box after box after box. And we're just filling these things up, man. And over on the other side, across the street, in the office, it's before you had like all your cat cards and all that. Mm-hmm. So they're like changing all the pictures and backgrounds and everything to just like half naked dudes and everything. One guy had bought a bunch of muscle mags, and they're ripping out like dude pictures and sticking them in all the files for the standards office.
Oh my God!
Everybody's flight records and everything. Got like just pictures of dudes everywhere. So they take that cellophane wrap after they do that, and they take as much as they can, like the furniture that doesn't weigh a lot, and they duct tape it to the ceiling and upside down. And then about the midway through the room, they take that the cellophane, the clear plastic stuff, and just put it all the way across the room. I don't even know. I wasn't in there, so I don't know how they attached it or whatever. But on the bottom, they put, after all the other stuff was done, all the balloons go in. And then on the top, one guy went and bought Colleen, Harker Heights, and Copper's Cove, I believe he said, out of packing peanuts.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The whole top, from like halfway up.
Where are the crickets?
I'm about to get there.
Okay, I heard the crickets. I've been waiting for the crickets.
Right after we're done with everything, then we drop those crickets in there. The funniest thing about the whole thing was there was a guy that on his way in, he found a dead vulture on the side of the road on his way in for Copper's Cove, I believe it was. Tossed it in the back of his truck.
Here's the one that goes too far. That's the guy. That's the one guy. Goes too far.
On the doorstep to the commander of first sergeant's office, they make a little nest, and then they put the dead vulture in the nest. So the next morning they come in, and all the packing peanuts come falling down. They got a dead vulture here. They got balloons all over the place. Furniture's everywhere. Crickets chirping.
Oh my God.
Needless to say, I believe it was probably around 10 o'clock we got our centerpiece back.
Oh, wow.
That was only half of what we had planned.
Unbelievable. See, when you get warrant officers together, they come up with the craziest stuff. Like I wouldn't even go that far, but you guys went above and beyond. So wow.
Yeah.
You know, hey, warrant officers lead the way, right?
Got great initiative.
Werewolves.
Werewolves.
So they ever retaliate?
No, that was it. Oh, the one of the funniest things about the whole story was the vultures commander calls the werewolves commander, and he's like, "Hey, where did you guys find a dead vulture?" And he's like, "The question isn't where we found a dead vulture. The question is where we found 2 dead vultures." And they're like looking all over the place. There's not another one.
Hilarious.
That's funny.
It's probably one of my favorite parts about the story.
That's funny.
That is hilarious. All right, well, Sam, what do you got?
All right, so I'm glad we had a wartime story. We had a prank. Mine's going to be a little bit different, so I'm going to weave a couple of them together, and I'll try to make them make sense. So the first time. So first of all, to give you a little background, I'm a military brat too. So my dad retired as a first sergeant.
Oh, okay, there you go.
And one of the places that we got to live was Panama. And
cool.
And yeah, it was the coolest place to grow up. We were there for about 2.5 years. I learned to scuba dive on the Atlantic side, surf on the Pacific side, and it was right there after the Noriega takedown. So we moved there. I think Noriega happened December of '89. We moved there in April of '90.
Oh, wow.
There's a bunch of buildings still shot up and all this kind of stuff. So like the remnants of the conflict were still alive and well. So 1 year later, to celebrate like the 1 year anniversary of whatever the
Liberation?
ousting of, yeah, I guess you would call it that. George Bush Sr. flies into Panama, and this was the first time I remember as a kid being like, wait, the president of the United States is going to be here? Like, and it's not a very big community down there, American community specifically. There's only a couple, I mean, there might have been several thousand service members, but like from a community standpoint, it's like hundreds of families, and most all the families know each other. So we find out what's going to happen. He's going to give a speech at a hangar. So we all take our lawn chairs and go down to this hangar. Sure enough, he pulls in, and here's Barbara Bush and George Bush Sr. He gives a speech about how he ousted Noriega.
Oh, wow.
And he comes down.
That's cool.
He comes down, and I got to shake his hand.
Oh, wow.
I got to
How old were you?
I was probably 12.
12.
Yeah, 12, maybe 13. So I thought that was amazing, right? Like a once in a lifetime type of event, getting to meet the President of the United States. Fast forward to 2008, I am active duty Army captain in command of a flight line company in Afghanistan, and we're flying around VIPs all the time. We're getting senator delegations, congressional delegations. I don't care who it is. I treat this flight the same way. I just whoever the name is just gets changed out on the white.
Right. You got to do your job anyway, right? Yeah, it doesn't matter.
So one of them, one of the flights we got to fly was Senator Barack Obama. And
wow!
And I was like, all right. We kind of knew at the time that he was the front runner for the Democratic nomination.
Yeah.
Like he hadn't been. The votes hadn't come in. The voting, I don't think it had even happened. But we got to fly him around, and I got to meet him. So I shook his hand. I'm like, wow, this is probably kind of cool. Get to meet 2 presidents in my lifetime or whatever. Fast forward a couple months later, and Senator Barack Obama, I believe, had actually won the nomination. And so President J.W. Bush was on a farewell tour, and he went to Afghanistan.
Holy cow!
To say goodbye to Karzai. So, whose company got tasked with flying him? Mine did. So,
obviously you did a good job last time.
I picked my best 2 warrant officers, because that's what you do. You pick your best 2 warrant officers, best 2 pilots to fly them. And then at the end of the event, like I still flew on the mission, but I was like a spare. At the end of the mission, everybody shut down. We were back on Bagram and got to shake President J.W. Bush's hand.
Did you tell him you shook his dad's hand?
I don't think so. I think he was
a solid opportunity right there.
Side story. While we were flying him, CMOS goes off. Countermeasures.
Yeah.
And
On the ground?
No, they go off sometimes for different things that the sensors pick up while
you're flying.
Yeah.
Okay.
So while I was flying, the CMOS went off, and my 2 warrant officers reported to me after the flight. He said the president was like, "Did you see that? Didn't even flinch from Texas."
That sounds
like totally like JW, right? So I got to shake his hand. I'm like, man, I've gotten to shake 3, presidents' hands. This is crazy. Fast forward to 2017.
Holy cow.
I am finishing up. I'm in the Coast Guard at this point, and we are finishing up operations at Hurricane Harvey in Houston, Texas.
Oh yeah, I
And
remember that, yeah.
we catch wind that the president, Trump, is going to be coming by to say, "Hey, thanks for your service and all this stuff." So what do? We find out where the flight line is. We all line up. Me and my whole crew from Savannah are there. We're TDY. We're just waiting on our trip home.
Okay.
So I kind of get my phone case. Now we're in the smartphone era.
Yeah.
And the president's coming down and shaking everybody's hand. He's like, "Thanks for your service. Thanks for what you do." And then he stops right in front of me and proceeds to talk to me for about, 3 or 4 minutes about, he's like, which one do you fly? And I was like, to fly the MH-65, Mr. President. He goes, "You like that one? Is your favorite helicopter?" And I was like, yes, it is. He goes, okay, how fast can the winds be? When he started grilling me, like,
Oh wow.
yeah, on my like I felt like I was getting.
Is he like a helicopter expert?
No.
Taking a check ride with the president.
Yeah, what was really funny is I gave him some answers, and then I ended up making up some, and I ended up getting a lot of grief because I posted that video on Facebook.
Oh wow.
So all my friends were like, "You're just making stuff up." I'm like, how did I know that the president was going to end up giving me, a bunch of information like that? Anyway, it was really funny. My interaction, it's on my Facebook page. You can probably find it still. It's really funny. Fast forward.
Holy cow.
So George Bush Sr., President Barack Obama, George Bush Jr., and Donald Trump. Well, my last unit in the Coast Guard was at a place called HITRON, which stands for Helicopter Interdiction Tactical Squadron. And it basically is a drug runner. It interdicts drug runners on the high seas. So we live on the back of ships, operational deployment on the back of ships, and then we get some intelligence, and we go out and we shoot out the engine blocks of the drug running vessels, and then the small boats get launched, and we arrest the
Right. Yeah.
So we go through. I got about 14 busts. We call them busts, in about a 2-year time span there. And one of the very last busts I was a part of ends up winning Interdiction of the Year from the United States Interdiction Coordination Center. It's a subset. It's an executive office that was led by an executive, and we won that Interdiction of the Year. And
Did you meet Biden?
so hold on, you're getting ahead of my story. so we got invited to the White House. Me and my crew. The other 2 members of my crew, it's only a 3-member crew. Those other 2 members, the pilot in command and the gunner, both won air medals from this
Holy cow.
interdiction. And I was along for the ride. I was in the left seat, just basically like old Hank, like just going like go. So we get invited to the White House to be presented the Maritime Interdiction of the Year award by President Biden. But he gets COVID that day.
Oh wow.
So I didn't meet President Biden, but I almost did. And then my friend Nate Brock, who I love to death, he's under contract with me. He's coming back to Savannah. He goes, "Man, you're just like Forrest Gump." He goes, "So I went to the White House again." met the president again. So that's my story. So
That's pretty awesome. You know what, Mark? You brought, when you talked about your prank story, it kind of reminded me of one. Let me give you a bonus. Okay, this was we were at Fort Eustis. That's shout out to Frankie, Chad Mullen, all the crew back to Hero, all those guys back there. So I was the committee chief for the Apache guys. So I was in charge of second shift in our hangar. Right, I was in charge. I was E7 at the time. I was in charge of the E6s, E5s. Right. Well, when you're doing April Fool's jokes, right? If you're doing April Fool's joke properly, you're going to have to do it on April Fool's Day, but there's a lot of prep involved, because if you try to just pull it off on April Fool's Day, it doesn't work out very well. So, and my wife might not like this story, but so I go, all right, I'm gonna mess with these guys. These guys, because I'm in charge. I was kind of like, at the time, I wasn't really like, we weren't all like, because I was in charge of just, people coming in, so they didn't really know me that well. So I go, hey, babe, look, I want you to give me a call at the office, and I want you to hang up, okay? I'm gonna act like we're fighting, okay? So she's like, oh, why? I'm like, I'm pulling a prank, don't worry about it. So this is like a week before New Year's, or before April Fool's Day, right? So I'm talking to people there. I'm like, yeah, I'm having problems with me and my wife, whatever. I've been drinking a lot, all that stuff. But I'm gonna get through it. It's gonna be fine, right? Then my wife calls. I have to make sure that one of the soldiers pick it up. The E5, he comes, gets me. I go get it, and then I start. My wife hangs up, and I'm like, no, what the hell are you talking about? You're not taking my kids. What are you talking about? No, we're gonna talk about this when I get home, right? So I'm planting the seeds, right? And every day, the fights on the phone is starting to get like more elevated, right? So, and I work nights, right? And my wife is loud. She is super pregnant with Piper, right? Super pregnant. So I go, okay, so I come in, it's the night before April Fool's, right? And I'm on nights, and I go, hey man, Kevin, you do me a favor, can you take over? I'm having a hard time, I'm gonna go have a couple drinks, go home, try to relax. I tell my wife, I go, hey, Lindsay, I want you to text Sekowitz's wife. Now, Sekowitz, if you're watching this, don't hate me for this, but you were the talker. Like, you were the guy that told all the rumors. You were that guy. You and your wife. So I go, text his wife, right? I know he'll tell Sekowitz, and Sekowitz is going to run that through the shop, right? So I go, hey, tell Sekowitz's wife that you might have to go home because we're fighting. She's like, you sure I want to do that? I'm like, yeah, just do it. It's fine. We got to set this up. She's like, okay. Reluctantly, she did it. So she did it reluctantly. It wasn't her fault. So she tells us that, right? And then she doesn't answer the phone no more, right? So I come in I called my supervisor at the time. I think it was, it doesn't matter. It was a sergeant major. I don't remember his name, but I go, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you go downstairs and tell the guys, hey, whoever's in charge needs to take over for the committee because Sergeant Donovan just got arrested for a DUI, right? So he's like, okay, no problem. So he goes, Sergeant Major Simmons, that's who it was. So he goes down there and tells him that. So it's like buzzing, right? It's buzzing everybody. So I had a mole in there. I get my buddy Tahiro, I need you to make sure they don't beat the shit out of me when I start. So give me the temperature of the room as I come in. So he's like, everything's good, you're good. So I come in civilian clothes, I didn't shave, It's like 7 o'clock at night. I'm like, hey, can you get everybody in here? I just need to talk to everybody, right? So everybody's there, I go, I just want to let you guys know what happened to me last night. So Lindsay's okay, the baby's fine, they got out of the hospital, everything's good to go. But she deserved it. I'm looking at these are grown Army dudes, like killers. And I'm telling them I had to beat my pregnant wife because, and I'm like, she deserved it. And they're like, what? I go, Tahira, why did they deserve it? He starts laughing. I go, because it's April Fool's Day. So they had thought I got arrested and my wife was beaten with our child in the hospital and then to take over. And then, they retaliated on me. But
oh my gosh, that's terrible.
Oh, it was awesome.
Dude, that's terrible.
It was awesome.
That is like, you had to seriously think that out.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you gotta plan for these things. You can't just pull out April Fool's on. I did another ones, but, I don't want to get into all those. But you guys, anybody else have any more stories? You good?
I don't know if I want to tell you any more stories.
Well,
I'm going to get the prank pulled on me next time.
Well, I was going to say, hey, guys, thank you for watching. And, we understand, if anybody understands Memorial Day and the importance of that day, look, and I also want to say this, and we lost some great people this past year. We lost 2 family. One, Viper, recently he committed suicide. And you know what? We honor the fallen soldiers. If you are having any issues with PTSD or anything like that, reach out to your Army brothers and sisters. Reach out to us. You can call me, 912-657-3544. I'll tell you what, there is this guy, he was such a good person. All he had to do was reach out, and he would have had 1 million people helping him. 1 million people would have helped him. And he decided to take his life, and now the aftermath that his family's got to feel, you know, like, and it all could have been avoided. And if you're feeling that way, like you need to take your life, do not do it. You've got support system. Call Mark. If you like, call Sam, call me, call anybody. Do not take your life, okay? And I just would say, tell Army stories, military stories to your friends during Memorial Day weekend. Remember them, because when we say these stories, they live in our memories forever. And like I said, I appreciate you guys watching, and talk to you guys soon. Have a happy Memorial Day.